And yes, man, dude, whew, what is up,
Hey,
man?
I got a lot to live up to, man. I think it's at least 80% right. So no, man, my pleasure to be here. Been blessed in so many ways, and really been following what you guys have been doing, and just really excited to come on and share anything that I can with the community, and cut it up a little bit.
Dude, I mean, one, I'm pumped you're here, bro, because I mean, for someone with your background, your expertise, I mean, literally, dude, I mean, like the what, almost 20 years in advertising. I mean, we were just talking about, dude, the internet's only been around for 20 years. So I mean, you're like you know, and you only look 20 yourself, you know?
Come on.
So it's like, you know, that's the best of both worlds, dude. You like
I was gonna buy you like some Subway lunch, but now we're getting to steak dinner. The longer this goes.
I'm telling you, man. I mean, it's one thing to be like the OG in the game, and but you still look like, you know, the new kid on the block, man. So I mean, hey, hats off to you, man. Hats off to you.
Yeah. Hey, look, I'll say longevity in this business comes with taking care of yourself, and I'm sure you guys talk with this with your people in personal development, but sound body and mind goes a long way towards the ability to produce.
Yeah, no, man, no shit, dude. I mean, it's one of, I can't tell you, I mean, how important just getting everything in your life right means to, you know, producing as an entrepreneur and producing in business, man. So that's what's up, dude. And congratulations. Happy 1 year anniversary of the Radical Results Company, dude. That's
Yeah, man.
awesome.
Thank you. We're 1 year old. It started with me. You'll see. I'm here in our office space at the Wheelhouse, and started just me in a co-work space alone a year ago. And a year later, we got about 12 people, and I think by revenue, we're one of the fastest growing agencies in South Carolina.
That's awesome, dude.
Really,
That's
really
awesome,
proud
man.
of what we've accomplished, and humbled by some of the success, but it's been great.
That's what's up, man. I definitely want to jam on that. But I also want to know about your background, dude, because I know a lot of people, you know, that listen to the show, they're entrepreneurs. They're probably maybe just getting started. They're probably maybe hitting that 1 year anniversary like you, for that company, or maybe they're not even an entrepreneur yet. They've got an idea that they've just been kind of sitting on. So can you kind of tell us a little bit about your background, man, and like how you got into marketing, advertising, that kind of thing?
Absolutely. I'll give you the Cliff Notes kind of version. But 20 years is a long time, man. I say it out loud, and it's like kind of glosses over a little bit. I don't feel like it's been. My saying now, is the days are long and the years are fast.
Right.
But, nonetheless, I went to Clemson. I'm a Clemson grad. I was born and raised in South Carolina. So I've lived a number of places. I'll talk about that. But, I came up with a family of entrepreneurs. My dad was an entrepreneur. He owned, my mom and my dad, I think, really are entrepreneurial in spirit. So I got it naturally in a way.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though I was working for other people quite a number of times. But the reality is I kind of had that bred in me. I went to Clemson, marketing major, started working at EP & Co., which was when I was there. It was Irwin Penland in 2000, right out of Clemson. I mean, I was like 2 months out of school, went to an ad agency. So was very fortunate. So many people go to school and they study different things, and they don't, and look, I wasn't like I had it all figured out. I was blessed to land a job doing what I wanted to do so quickly. And I recognized the fortune that I had in that, but went straight into an ad agency job. And the alignment really happened because Irwin Penland was a very entrepreneurial ad agency. It was kind of like, I don't want to say dog eat dog, but it was very much you could be and grow as much as you wanted within those confines, especially in their early days. When I started there, I was like employee number 60. And by the time I left, there was over 400 employees. So that was over a 12-year period. I stayed there for 12 years, but I was fortunate enough to work on some of the largest brands in the world. I started as a junior account executive on Verizon Wireless Business. And we had a small piece of Verizon's. They've spread their marketing out across 4 areas. We had one area in the South that we managed kind of all the marketing for the communication stores there when I started in 01 on that piece of business. And over the next 7 years, I was promoted probably 5 times, and I developed relationships within Verizon. And with myself and the help of a lot of great teammates, we took over very large pieces of the Verizon wireless business and managing marketing at the national level. So much so that I opened the New York office for EP in 2009. I say that they had some employees there, but I was kind of the first senior employee who went there to kind of round the troops together that was working on several large clients, including Verizon. And so got a lot of experience. I was also very driven, and that's kind of back to that entrepreneurial spirit. I never felt like I had a cap there.
Yeah.
So I was always driven to do more throughout my first 7 to 8 years, and there was never a cap. I mean, literally, I had a great boss. He was one of the founders of EP. His name is Alan Bosworth. Taught me a ton of stuff, but he never put limits on me. I mean, he saw my potential. He saw how I understood marketing and how I understood working with clients and strategies. It might have been a little ahead of my time in some ways, but he never put a cap on me. Because if he had, I would have probably started my own business in 2006. I would have, I'm not going to do this. But there was no limitations put on what I could do. And so, I was fortunate enough to help kind of shepherd in Verizon through this time, going from, like we talked about earlier, flip phones to smartphones, worked with Apple and Motorola, developing positioning and strategies for how to talk about these devices and talk about technology in a way that would, motivate consumers. It was a really interesting time for what was happening with technology and phones in general. And working with these large brands and kind of helping them. I was always like the kid in the room a little bit, to be quite frank. I'm in my mid to late 20s, and I'm in rooms, CMO of Verizon Wireless, the lead dog at Apple. And it was a blessing. I mean, but I always had a confidence about me. And I think that's a lot in business, I think, and in marketing as I came up. And it's not about fake it till you make it. It's just being about confidence in what you're doing and a belief in yourself. And I think that, as much as anything, has guided me throughout my career. And so that, led to being in New York. We worked on Denny's, like you mentioned before, Firehouse Subs, doing the same things, working on some campaigns that you see on television all the time. Any TV spot that you've seen for Verizon or Denny's or Firehouse Subs or Budweiser, myself or someone on one of my teams or our teams at the agencies worked on that. And so was just really fortunate to be able to kind of leverage. I had an innate marketing sense about me. And I think a lot of that is just grounded in coming up in the South and having kind of a personal connection with people. I think there's a realness that came with that. So it was always, my accent was always a little heavier in the room, but it was almost like a lot of my marketing ability was somewhat grounded in this connection with people and understanding how to tailor and craft messages, whether that's brand, whether that's, messages, in the digital mediums, whether it's tactical sales driving messages or branding messages. I feel like I was always a little bit of the voice of the consumer and really being able to bring that to life. And so worked in New York, moved back to Greenville, worked on a couple startups, and then worked for one other agency in the automotive space for about 18 months. And then I was like, I got to do my own thing, it's time. I've had a lot of experience. So started Radical a year ago, and like I mentioned before, we've had a lot of success in the first year, really kind of changing the game.
That's what's up, man, dude. And you mentioned some stuff we definitely got to hit on, but dude, one of the things that I definitely resonate with you, dude, is when I came out of college, I was playing baseball and kind of working at the same time. But I had a very similar boss, and he was a very uncapped, as you said, boss. You know what I mean? And I feel like sometimes, it's one of the luckiest things when you get that first boss out of school, especially if you've got that inner entrepreneur just kind of like sitting in you. I mean, I look back at my life and I'm like, man, like if I would have had a boss that was very employee and like, this is how you do, and you work till you're 60, and then man, I might not have got out. You know what I mean? Because I wouldn't have been in that environment. But it's shout out to the good bosses out there that allow the people with that really want to get out the ability to actually go out and run and do their own thing. So
absolutely, that I think about that probably more now, or as much as anything, is truly, not irony, or I mean, I know it was lucky in a lot of ways, and we all make our own luck, and we got to be driven. A lot of things got to come together, but I never forget that how important that was,
right?
Because I probably would have started and stopped, or because you're going to fail an entrepreneur. We can talk a little bit of a couple of startups of mine that were kind of train wrecks in their own right, but yeah, but it would have just been so different if I had not had that leadership and that ability to kind of flourish. And it wasn't because I was some savant. I didn't get everything right, but I was driven enough and knew enough, and not everyone gets that opportunity.
Right. So, I mean, this is kind of a little turn, but like, would you say that's kind of the reason that you guys launched that meetup GVL Hustle? Because I kind of feel like not obviously we know not everybody gets that lucky coming out of school. They may have been out of school for 5-10 years or more, and they have been in an environment that is really employee driven, and they may have this drive to start their own thing, but it's just not quite there yet. The fear's there, the doubt's there, the self-doubt, the all those things are creeping up. So like, was that kind of the mission behind GVL Hustle?
Yes, it was. And it really came from a couple places. First, Tyler Harris and I, who started GVL Hustle, we've both been fortunate. We both had ups and downs. And don't get me wrong. There's, I've gone through divorce. We're talking about all the positives, but it's not been all.
Nah, yeah.
Keep it real.
Keep it real.
Exactly, keeping it real. But we both recognize that we have been blessed in multiple ways, and worked more nationally. When I say national, like Tyler was in Greenville working. I had moved back from New York, and he moved next door, and we'd known each other for 10 years, and we just started, having dialogue and like wanting to give back to the community in a way, combined with wanting to meet like-minded people and not feeling like that existed. So There was totally some amount of wanting to give back and wanting to, share that. And then there was that part where selfishly we wanted to just meet and be more connected to Greenville with like-minded people. And we didn't feel like with all the growth and everything that had been happening, there still didn't exist that kind of community.
Yeah.
And so we kind of grounded in like 3 words: community, culture, and collaboration. And so we kind of ground it in the 3 C's, and that's really what it comes back to.
Oh man, that's and I felt the same way, dude. Because when I moved here, I was like, oh man, like especially, when I moved here, I was working like 70 hours a week, and then when I finally stopped that and transitioned to do my own thing, I would do meetups, and they just weren't that solid. Everyone was just kind of and I was like, man, I know there's good people here, but they had to be launched by the right people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And so and like, we don't get it perfect. It's about 10 months old, GVL Hustle, and it's still evolving. Like at the end of the day, I think we find it to be valuable. We like it. We get good feedback, and we're trying to make it about more than just, I made this statement when we started, most of these networking type things are about the ends.
Right.
And make it about the means.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is we're trying to make it more real and make those connections more, truly like people that are talking that really care about what the other person's saying and not just trying to get a business card.
Right. Right.
So, and I think we're getting there.
Yeah, I think so too, man. I really enjoyed it. Man, I got the sneeze coming out there. It's like
perfect. It's that time of year though.
No, man.
My Zyrtec keeps me in check, luckily.
Yo, Zyrtec knocks me out, dog. I tried that. And I felt like I was about to. I didn't know if I don't know. I remember taking Zyrtec once, and I didn't know if I took a Zyrtec or mixed it with something or took the wrong thing. I was like, what just happened? Because I was like, it is a Monday, and this feels no. Yeah, I had to check the can. I was like, is this a Zyrtec or something else?
It doesn't make you tired, but if not, I tried to sleeping on the table here.
Right. Yo, so one of the big things I wanted to touch on as we kind of work through some content. You like when you said, hey, I've always had that voice, or felt like I've always had that voice of the consumer. I've always been able to motivate the consumer. I've always been able to understand people. Like, I feel like that is such a lost art because everyone's trying to sell something, dude. Everyone's got a business. Everybody's got a product, but there's only a few handful of people that can really, truly understand the customer and motivate them to buy something. So like, dude, like, can we jam on that for a second and like just kind of talk about like how has that developed for you, and how do you what makes you so good at that and makes you guys so good at what you guys do over at Radical? But just over the years, how have you been able to really understand the customer and motivate them to buy? Because I feel like it's key number one is understanding the customer.
Yeah, and I'll give you a couple paths on that. One, I have an innate curiosity about mine. I don't think I'm not the nosy neighbor curious. I don't think anybody would call me a gossiper, or like, I don't care I'm not like, my curiosity is not about like what's in my neighbor's trash, or, what's Billie Jean down the road doing, so I want to set that groundwork first. But what I do have, always had it, is a very natural curiosity about everything, especially marketing and consumer behavior and why people do what they do. And so I think to be a really good marketer, if you aren't naturally curious, if you aren't naturally interested, then I might tell you need to do something else.
Right.
Not because you make it happen, but so I don't know if that's nurture or nature. I don't know if I'm pretty sure that was nature for me. It's like so I had this natural curiosity. And so I've always studied what motivates people.
Right.
And what makes them interested in things. And I think that has grounded my level of understanding on what happens. But I've also been grounded in just some human behavioral characteristics that people do not want to be sold. They do not, and we're moving into this even more in the last 10 years because of all the digital marketing, and that connections with people, were actually happening more in the 90s and 2000s when you weren't inundated with a million digital messages a day, and you'd have a beautiful Budweiser television spot with the Clydesdales moving down the road,
slow motion
feeling, a feeling. It made you feel something, and it's like, did you go buy a Budweiser that day? No, but you're planting a seed of how they feel about the brand. And we've gotten to this stage now where everything's become so tactical and everybody's trying to make $1 overnight. But the thing that hasn't changed is you can build $1 overnight, or you can build wealth over time.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with a brand, and the same thing with marketing. And I think I have always fundamentally understood that. And I think it's helped me craft and tailor messaging and understand how to build stories. And I think that's what we're doing at Radical is we're doing a lot of storytelling. We understand the power of video. We understand the power of smartphones and the technology. But if you go look at what we're doing, we're telling a lot of stories. You know, you don't see hardly a single one of our clients talking about a price point or trying to lure them into a funnel.
Right.
And I'm not saying that doesn't work. There's a time and place for it. It's not that I understand it. I get it. I get it all. You build your database, you get emails, and you hit them on Facebook. I know all that stuff.
Yeah.
But, and it works.
Right.
But, you know, starting with like the dancing dentist, you know, the guy doesn't have to take another customer for, you know, 2 years because he's booked out, and we haven't talked about a single cavity.
Right. Exactly.
But we took a story and we built around it. Now, some of that was just luck of time and place that went viral, but like we're doing that with all our clients.
Yeah.
You know, we're telling stories and we're doing things completely different. You know, we've got a contractor that we're pretty much doing a television show produced called Hard Hats Only, telling those stories, and he's getting known all around town as being the developer in Greenville and all that. I mean, we're working with a beauty brand. We're telling the story of enduring and doing things. And yeah, we got to sell product and do all those things, but it's really about storytelling and connecting with consumers at that kind of emotional level.
Man, that like 3 minutes was just pure. I mean, that's just pure gold, dude. I mean, because it's like, God, so many people just don't get it, that it's just all about storytelling, and it's all about, I mean, you know, hell, have you read Donald Miller's book, Building a Story Brand?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was one of the better of like the storytelling type marketing books. But I mean, I think it's so key to point out that like literally, dude, every marketer that you see, like every kind of, like Seth Godin, Frank Kern, like every kind of legendary marketer. Isn't it ironic that they always start off with like this Maslow's hierarchy of needs and really like understanding people, and everyone else is like, nah, poppycock. No, you know, this is the fundamentals. And like, yeah, we all get the fundamentals, right? We all get the technical aspect of like, hey, look, this is like what needs to be set up technically. But on the back end, if there's the underneath, like under you pop the hood, what story is being told?
Yeah. And that's why we work with all of our clients. And it's not because you have to have a personal brand to make it work.
Right.
But I tell you what, it makes it a whole lot easier to have the owner of these companies or whatever, if they're willing to get, you know, down and dirty with the personal branding side of it, that emotional connection that you create and that transparency that you give will pay 10x down the road with consumers really making that connection with people.
Yeah.
And if you're a recluse and like you don't do that, but then build it around someone else, but at least find a way to be transparent about what you're doing and what you stand behind, and ground it in a cause. And, you know, look, everybody's selling something. Consumers know that. I mean, you don't have to treat them like they're stupid, but like give them a reason, you know, to think about you and instead of your competition, or, you know, give them a moment of rest to like see something behind the scenes instead of, you know, $9.99.
Yeah. Just like, let me get the old hammer out and just, you know, it's like, okay, cool. I get it. We want to Mike Tyson people in submission, you know, we just want to like, you know, I beat my customers up and they buy, they give me money, you know, but you know, so I love that, man. So kind of shifting into like content, because I know a lot of people, okay, I get it. I want to tell a story. I like what you touched on. If you're not building a personal brand, you don't have to tell your story. You can tell other people's stories, but people need to understand that they are being told this story. They're being taken on this journey. And if we don't get that, like, yeah, you may make a couple sales, but is it worth the loss of people? I mean, is it worth that? So how do you guys, when you look at creating long-term content and creating creative content, and maybe getting, someone that maybe struggles with creating content on a daily or weekly or monthly basis. Like, how do you guys help your customers create content that tells that story, and it's creative, and it's not just like, oh man, I'm just doing a video to do a video.
Yeah. I mean, it's work, man. I mean, it is tough when, luckily, most of our clients, we end up can get them at least a principal or someone that's, well in the business, willing and able to kind of be the voice, of this.
Yeah.
But sometimes it takes a lot of scripting, and not scripting because it's not real, but coaching and developing. And it really depends on the brand that we're working with. And, like, we're working with, I don't want to name like too many names of like ones, but some of the ones that we're working with, it's really like drawing out of them what matters. Like, okay, what matters to you? Well, I want to sell more of these. Well, yeah, of course you do, but like
Right.
what really, like, you really get behind. And I will say this, we're picking and choosing the clients that we feel like want to tell these stories and want to have this transparency, and that want to be guided down this
Right.
path. Because if we aren't taking on many clients, and there are clients that are very product centric, that just are, and they want to be product centric, and that's really not. So there's always going to be a fit, for us versus, and so, my answer to that kind of comes back to like, people ask me what the vertical is of Radical, and I think, well, the vertical for us is people that want to embrace this storytelling side of things.
Yeah.
So I guess we've been fortunate enough to not be mismatched maybe with companies or products or services that didn't want to go down that route,
Right.
but it does, but once the clients that we're working with see the success that we've had with other companies, they get pretty behind it pretty quickly.
Yeah, because I mean, I think I mean, I think it's a natural, and like we said, it's an innate thing. I mean, I think that's just the way that we're wired as humans. You know what I mean? And when we're being presented a product or a service in a particular way that aligns with the way that we're engineered, it just feels natural. You know what I mean? It feels as if, you know what, hey, I do want this product. I do need this product. Here's an exchange of money. Or, you know what, I don't need this product, but let me tell somebody else about it, because it's been done the right way, and what do you, so in a sense of like, research, because I kind of feel like that's what you're saying about some of, like, when you're working with a new person, or you see someone out there that's just not getting the messaging right, like, are you kind of saying like that research aspect? Because I feel like a lot of people skip the research part and skip the peeling of the onion, because I got to get this funnel right. I got to get the message out there. I got to start selling. I got to start making money yesterday. So it's like, you didn't take that 2-3 days, the week, or maybe, I mean, we just did a campaign and it took us almost 4 weeks to literally pull back the layer enough to really know what story was going to be told, what the narrative was. And so do you feel kind of the same way about, like, sometimes we're trying to sell too fast instead of trying to actually like do the research part first?
Yeah. I mean, you nailed it, but we have to have these discussions with clients, because like a lot of clients come on board with us and they want to go like fast. And like, we're ready and we're nimble, and like, that's our tagline's marketing at the speed of now. And like, so it's not that we're trying to slow the boat, but sometimes you've got to really take inventory about what data you already have, or what knowledge you already have, or deciding what you want your message to be, all of those points. And research, we're starting to work with some larger clients now. Actually, we're going to be doing a rebranding for a company that wants to take on one of the largest online lending companies in the universe. And they're well funded and well backed, and we're going to be doing a rebrand exercise with them. And it really starts fundamentally with research and actually asking consumers, their perspective on certain things. I've run focus groups, and qualitative and quantitative on the research side, where, it's just like, like like Survey Monkey type things
Right.
driven. But I think there's absolutely a rush to get out there instead of really taking note of what does some of the data points we already have tell us, and B, what do we ultimately want our message to be, and what do we want to stand for? What do we, we're starting to do a lot more of these kind of brand exercises where it's, who, what, why, and how. We ask them, those questions. And sometimes it's as simple as making yourself answer those 4 questions and making the business partners. And yeah, we can guide you, but like, you'd be amazed if you really take the time to write down, who am I talking to and what do I know about them that can influence how I talk to them?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and when you said, hey, getting on the boat, it's almost kind of like, well, do you have the data? Because you said like, hey, do I have the data? Do I have the information? Do I have the supplies that I need to get on the boat first before I start this engine and go on this journey into uncharted waters?
Yeah,
no, I love it, man. Yo, dude,
there is like a lucky strike, bit of recommendation for anybody kind of in this space. I think you're going to see over the next like 3 to 5 years, everything's become digital. I think you're going to see us backtrack a little bit towards more of the physical.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see like a resurgence of magazines, of like tactile experiences, with customers. And I think there's going to be a little bit of a blowback from all this digital. And I'm not saying it's going away. I mean, you're not putting the smartphone back in the thing, but I would tell people to consider the physical. And that's kind of like what we do in Greenville Hustle, like making it back to me doing those kind of things. But think about more of those personal and physical connections as much as the digital. So a little sidebar.
No, I could see it, dude. I mean, I think as a consumer, I mean, we as consumers, I mean, we basically run the market, as that's what we do. And I think you're exactly right. I think as consumers, we're going down a way of like, yo, I love the ease, but I'm getting hit with 5,000 messages a day. And it's wearing me out.
Yeah.
No, I love it, man. Dude, I know we could probably talk marketing all day, man. And you got work to do. You got lives to save in the marketing world, man. So yo, I appreciate you popping on, man. And how can people connect with Ryan Alford? Where you at these days? Besides GVO Hustle offline, but digitally, where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm at Ryan Alford. That's RyanAlford on Instagram. I started that. There's actually like 200 Ryan Alfords in the U.S. But I've been on Instagram since 2008. I'm an OG on Instagram.
Yeah, you're right.
I got on that boat because it was easy for my mind. Facebook was always a little too much for me. So when Instagram came out, I was an early adopter. I was like, man, this is for me. Simple feat, not all these politics. Like, I was on Instagram bandwagon early. So at Ryan Alford on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook with the same name, but and then all my stuff is connected on the link on my Instagram there. You got all our podcasts. You can find us on all the major channels. If you look up on iTunes, Google, whatever, Radical Company Podcast, you'll find us. We host episodes, both video and YouTube, same place. We got video and audio, the podcast. And radical.company is the website address. For Radical, and super blessed to be on here, man. Really appreciate it.
Oh man, I enjoyed it, man. I know our listeners are definitely gonna enjoy it. Dude, most success to you in the next year with Radical, man. Keep doing your thing. I know we got to get you verified. Knock out all those other 199 Ryan Alfords on Insta, man.
Yeah, for sure.
The only one that matters. Yo, so appreciate you coming by, man. Loved everything you shared. We'll definitely have to have you back, and we'll look to we'll connect soon, man.
All right, bro.
All right, man. Have a good one, buddy. See ya.